Guys, so we got our metal. We're going to do some welding, and for this we're going to use this brand new SSimder welder. Those of you guys who don't know, I've been using the SSimder and I am super stoked with this welder. It works amazing. The best part about it is the price. It is super cheap. It does have some ups and downs. Most of them are up, but just a couple little things that you need to know. But this is the newest one, so maybe they fixed a couple of those things. Let's take it out and look at it. This is a multi-process machine. Unlike your Harbor Freight one, let's say you get the titanium, the cheapest titanium they have, it's only 110 volt. This is 110 220. This is really small. I like it. It's really nice. Let's look at it inside here. My first time opening it, I haven't seen it. Takes a full spool of wire. The setup's a little weak on this thing here. Of course, it's inexpensive. This is a very, very inexpensive welder. Check the link in the description. It is a super value. But it does have the full metal setup, just like the Harbor Freight ones do. Fully metal. And it has a lot more power. This is a 250 amp. The other one's like a 140. The titanium 140. And it's a single process machine. I can tell you right now, I haven't even used this one, but the other one I have, this one here works 100 times better. And it's still a MIG-250, but this is also the aluminum one. Might be one of the ones you might want to upgrade to if you want to spend a little bit more money. And if you note the size, that one's a lot smaller if you need more space in your garage. And this one does just MIG, gas, and MMA, all that stuff. We're only going to be using it for MIG. Okay, but we're going to do that trailer with it right there. We're going to do the whole build with it. And I'm going to put on here for that, I'm going to put on the, this one's set up to do, let's see, I don't know what the feed wheels are yet. We'll find them. I only see a 0.8 millimeter that's on here. And then a 1.0 for, I guess that's for flux core, which I don't use. So here it comes with a roll of flux core, probably. Let's see. Yeah, flux cord wire, so you can immediately start welding if you didn't have anything. I'm hoping this display is nice and bright. Oh yeah, that's not peel off. I thought it was a thing to peel off. Maybe this is. There is something to peel off in there. Yeah, let's say I thought it would be a reason. So then, did I have you guys out of frame? Sorry about that. Okay, amps, volts. So it kind of set up similar to the other one, but it's a little easier to read. My only complaint to the other welder, my actual only complaint with this welder is really, and it's really nothing. So I'll turn it on. Is you see here, it's blue. It's a little hard to see it. So for me, being old, I have to use my reading glasses to see what mode it's in. It's not that bright, the screen. Other than that, if you can get past that, there's absolutely no issues. This is a fantastic welder. And if you see, it has the same thing. It says volts and amps. And this one had, I think, different feed rollers in it. It had a few extra things. So like I said, if you can spend a little more money, this one's cool too. I'll put a link in the description for both welders. This is the 250D, and I think this one's just a MIG-250, I'm supposing. I don't know. A little smaller, a little more basic, but it still has stick, and it comes with a stick welding. So sometimes you want to arc weld. When you're doing really thick steel, you want to use an arc weld. You'll like doing that. It'll penetrate better than a MIG does. For most items you're going to do, this is fine. This is actually more than fine for what most people will be doing. But it says amps, I guess, and volts, but one's wire speed, believe me. Wired selection size, I don't know. We'll try it out and we'll just see how it works out. I'm going to hook it up on my other one. I'll put it on and we'll take the Vevor welder off, which that's a really good deal too. If you're interested in that, that one's pretty cool. and it does not have really very much automatic settings. The other ones do a little bit. This one here is just the basic, you know. You got heat selector, wire speed, and I think burn back or something like that. Or I don't know. It's got the basic thing, voltage, current, and whatever. It just has your basic wire speed and heat, okay? But there's two other knobs, one for burn back and one for something else. I don't remember how they work. I think that's only MMA. That's what it is. I don't use it, so I don't know. Another word for stick welding, MMA is. Okay, so let's set this one up. Since it's already ready, we'll put 0.030 on it because we're welding thicker steel over there on that. And that one here, I'm going to be using 0.023. And the thing I like about that welder, I'll tell you right now, while we're talking about welders, is this one will run 0.023. And if I want to crank the heat up and just weld thicker steel, it'll use a lot more wire, but it'll still do it pretty well. Where the Harbor Freight titanium, it will not. You have to change to the 030 wire. You can't just do a quick, like if I wanted to weld something a little thicker, just one little item, and you know, since I'm doing all this trailer, I want to use 0.030 because I'm wasting money and time. It'll weld a lot faster. But if I want to, I can weld nice thick steel with this, and it comes out really good, even with the small wire. So we'll see if that other one does. I don't know if we'll be able to do that in this video, but we'll definitely be doing some more testing on this welder. And again, look at the link in the description. You won't be the price. I don't think there's anything out there that takes a full spool of wire, okay, that's gas or flux core. It'll do either one. That's this cheap. I don't think there's anything else out there. I don't think so. And one more thing to keep in mind real quick is these don't come with a regulator. So you're going to need to buy that. So it does not come with one of these. So they're like 30 bucks. Still, the Harbor Freight one's $200 more than these, about that right now. FYI, this is a little harder to load, okay? It's kind of but once it's on there, it seems to stay on. Unlike the Vevor welder, I had to change the spring and even to get it to work. So this one's much better than that, but still kind of difficult to get it on. I wish they had a better system for that. But again, once you get it on there, you're not changing that thing very much, so it's no big deal. Well, with this welder being the base model, did I tell you guys how short the grounding clamp is? It gets kind of irritating. All right, it's only like, I want to say 5 feet roughly. Where honestly, if you spent, I mean, this thing's only like $100 more than that one. And look, you get it's like twice as long, twice as big around on their other welder. So again, I'm going to move you guys, if you're looking for a welder and you've got an extra $100, I would spend the money and just buy this one. That aluminum welder is like $100 cheaper than the Arc Captain, and it does exactly the same thing as it does. The Arc Captain had a couple of other cool things with it. It had like a light inside here so you could see, and it was red. It was kind of cool looking. Display was a little nicer. You could read the display, but in my opinion, I would take the SSimder just because it's a lot less money. You know, it was a couple $100 or $150 less than the other one, and those little features weren't really that necessary. But the grounding clamp is kind of a pain, because I'll just tell you right now, look, I can only do it right here, right over here, and my wand is going to be able to reach me over there. So in a lot of cases, you're going to want that grounding clamp to be a little longer than this. And I'm not saying, you know what I mean, if it's cheap and that's all you can afford, it's definitely the cheapest welder. Let's see if it welds good. I mean, that of course makes all the difference in the world. You can always lengthen this bad boy if you did later on. The thing I wanted to show you guys, they sent me out this helmet, and let me show you something. Let's see if you guys can see. Look through the lens, okay? How well can you see through that? Got a little bit of glare because of the sun and just the way it's the angle of it. How well can you see through that? Let me show you another one. Now let's look at this one inside. Everything's kind of yellow, right? I mean, you can't see nearly as good through this. So what I'm saying is, if you want to weld good, it's really a good idea to get a good helmet. And this one's really good. It doesn't have the biggest screen, but it is super, super clear. With this thing on, I can see just as good as I can with it up like that. Really. I've never used a helmet like that. Or I can see just a little tiny bit of a, say, a tinge of blue, but I can see really good. And that's one of my issues all the time. I don't know how many of you guys have the same problem, but a lot of times when you're welding, I've had points where I couldn't see, and I've actually welded in the wrong place. I mean, a beautiful, nice, beautiful bead going where I wasn't supposed to go. So, I mean, if you've ever done that before, I mean, you're not alone. Literally, I've been aiming for this crack, and I went, just like that. But with a good helmet, it makes a huge difference. So check these out. I'll put a link in the description for one of these too. Got it on, got a fairly quiet fan. The thing I'm looking for, does it have a wire feed? Don't see one. So, well, that's okay. You just have to pull the trigger. And then hopefully it reels the wire out. I hear it moving. And I leave the gas off when I do this, guys. If it does this. Let's see if I got the right tip in it. Well, my first shot with it, set it up at 19 with what I have. I'm not used to the wire speeds because I don't usually use 0.030, so bear with me. 16.1. I don't know if that's meters per minute. It doesn't say on here. Yeah, it does. Oh, it just says millimeter. 0.8 millimeter. Oh, is it? I don't think it. Yeah, it doesn't give you an option. So I guess maybe it is only 0.8 millimeter for this thing. You can't really use the 0.6. Doesn't give you a setting for that. I mean, you probably could just turn the wire speed up a lot more. So there's that too. Definitely lays down a nice bead. Let's set you guys up on a camera here. I'm going to do a few more welds along here. I'm not on really clean surface either. If you look, I didn't really clean it that well. Just knocked the real bad stuff off, and it just burned right through it. So those are other things to look for in welders. A lot of guys don't show, you know, welding through paint, welding through stuff like that, and see that it does it. Because your Harbor Freight, the cheap Warrior or whatever they are, what's that, Chicago Electric one, it will not weld through paint at all. One of those cheap ones. So those things are, to me, those things are just off the list of buying one. Don't waste your money on something like that. Just start with a welder at least like this one, if this is all you can afford. This is not really clean steel, good enough to make a decent weld. We could clean these up a little bit and just look at them, but man guys, that is a decent weld. I mean, it melts this steel really easily. This is 16 gauge and it just goes right through it. Just beautiful. So yeah, this thing really welds nice. So overall, you guys, it's a pretty basic machine. You have your wire speed on the top. You have your well, the volts, I guess, or amps. I don't know what it is. We can say it's V and A, so I don't know. Wire speed and heat. Let's just call it that. And you can adjust it real nice. Went up to, I think, what does that say? 19. It's hard to read it. You guys can't read it through your camera, but I can. It says 19.8. I got the sun facing me a little bit. It's getting over the end of the trees, and with the helmet there, I'm still able to see. One of my issues again is I don't see very well anymore. So, you know, I miss where I'm welding, and that's why I had to stop a few times and go back over it because I didn't know if I was still in the right place. So that helmet helps me a lot. I really miss a lot with the other helmets. So it's really good to have that. A little more money than the other helmets, but that real, I mean, right now, look at this. I mean, if I had the other helmet on, I wouldn't be able to see anything. I don't even need to lift this thing up. I just keep it on and I can see really well. I mean, it's almost like, you know, there's not a lot of difference. Okay. So it eliminates from me having to flip down like that. It's really nice. So the welder works phenomenal. The ground clamp's a bit short. That's a kind of an irritating thing. If you can get past that and you're looking for just a welder, I don't think this is one I would try to use for butt welding real thin steel. We can try a little piece and then see. So I'm going to lower the settings. Well, I only have 0.030 wire in here, so we're not going to do that today. But like I said, if you're looking for that, if you want one that welds really thin steel, maybe I'll put a link to the video for the other one, because I believe that this one came with the proper feed wheels for doing the smaller wire. I'm using 0.006 on this one. It has a better, if you look here, the feed system, the putting on that big nut is better. It has a lot of things that are better, okay, for just a little bit more money. But if you are really on a tight budget and you just need, or you need a second welder, maybe you just don't want to keep moving from 0.02 point, let's just use 0.8 millimeter, and then from going to that to 0.6, going back and forth. It's kind of a pain to keep changing it. So if you had two machines, one set up with thick wire, one set up with small wire, this one would weld thick wire all day long. I can just tell it goes down. I mean, I just ran that like nothing. So yeah, I would say this thing's definitely a good deal. It's probably one of the best deals out there on a welder. You can play around with it, try the 0.06 on it, see if you like it with that. Try try some of the other things, but for the price, you really just can't beat this thing. This thing's super cheap. I don't think there's anything else out there that's cheap. Check the link in the description again. See what you guys think. Leave your comment what you think about it. I'll talk to you guys in the next video, and please like, share, and subscribe.